In this video, we're going to learn about the Stroke Studio in Affinity Designer and how to use it to change line weights. In my sketch right now, my stroke thickness or line weight is all the same, and I'd like to change that. Line weight in art refers to how thick or thin, dark or light our lines are in a drawing. Whether you're drawing in real life or on a device, adding line weight is generally something you do after your base sketch is complete, so we're at the right point right now to be doing this. We use differences in line weight to add visual interest to our piece so it doesn't look flat or boring, to add depth and dimension, and to add the appearance of light and shadow. Let's look at what Affinity Stroke Studio can offer us in regards to line weight. I'm going to draw a sample line on the side of our Simba for a second here. You can see that this line is one thickness or line weight from bottom to top and top to bottom. When I select the Stroke Studio, this handy little graph pops up with 3 dots or nodes on it. Each of these nodes corresponds to a part of the line, so when I move the left node up or down, the thickness of the bottom part of my line changes. When I move the middle node up or down, the middle part of the line changes, etc. Pulling a node towards the bottom of the graph will make that part of the line appear thinner, and pulling a node towards the top of the graph will make that part of the line appear thicker. You can add in additional nodes on the line as you like to make a lot of line weight in one line, or if you take it too far, you can always hold down on a node and delete it or reset it all together. Let's try out this technique in our drawing. I can select one line I've drawn by tapping it with my Move tool or by finding it in my Layer Studio. I can change the graph in the Stroke Studio to change that one line's weight. Or I can find similar lines, like I'm going to do in the neck here, and multi-select them, and then apply changes in line thickness to the entire group. This is efficient and it also generally works pretty well. Don't forget you can use the slider in the Stroke Studio to bump up the thickness of the line overall if it looks a little too light. Now I'll go through the rest of my drawing and change the line weight throughout. Artists make things look important by adding emphasis or a change to set something apart from its surrounding. To add extra emphasis to Simba's face, I'm going to really bump up the line thickness around his eyes. As they say, eyes are the window to the soul, and that sounds pretty important to me. I'm going to continue around the rest of his fur with thinner yet tapered lines. When it comes to his whiskers, I'm going to draw them in with a tapered line that goes from thick to thin. You can see how the graph in my Stroke Studio has changed to achieve this effect. It looks more like a slope now than a rainbow. I like the way these whiskers look now, so I'm going to group them together in my Layer Studio and rename the group. Try to keep the Layer Studio as organized as possible as you go along in your drawing. This makes it much easier to find what you need later. Looking at the drawing overall now, I like it much better than where we started, but I do see that the ear on the left-hand side looks a little bit clumpy, so I'm just going to go back in and make those final adjustments now. Let's compare our results. Here's where we started, with Simba being just one line thickness, and here's where we are now with a bunch of varied line thicknesses. I definitely like this new version better. What about you?